Hello everyone, my name is Scott Ottman, and I'm the manager of ArcGIS Solutions here at Esri. And joining me today is Mike Daigle, and Mike's the product engineer responsible for our election solutions that we've developed for state and local governments. And today we're going to talk with you about our election solutions that you can leverage in your state and local government organizations. Now you may be asking yourself, what are ArcGIS solutions? Well, ArcGIS solutions are part of the ArcGIS platform, and they provide industry-specific maps and apps that sit at the intersection of the business that you do in your state and local government organizations and the technology we provide with ArcGIS. Now, these focused maps and apps provide an extensive set of capabilities that are organized around the work you do, but they're fully configurable and extensible so you can configure them to meet specific needs in your organization. Now, one aspect of our work is the technology we're developing to really close the gap between what our core products do and what you do in your government organizations every day. But another aspect of our work is the community of users we're building to drive what's in the solution offerings and to help us enhance those solution offerings over time. And everything we're going to show you today and all of the ArcGIS solutions come with your ArcGIS subscription, and they're fully supported. So you can leverage them in your organization and rapidly deliver value to your users. Now, our mission is quite clear. We really want to help you deliver maps and apps quickly throughout your organization and provide a standard set of capabilities that everyone can leverage in their community. We also want to help you stay current with future releases of our technology and avoid having a whole host of legacy technology as a result of custom development work you may have to do. And by doing that, we're going to help you also leverage new ArcGIS capabilities so you can focus on complex and unique problems in your community. Another aspect of our work is that we really want to help you unlock the geospatial platform and your data that you've invested in so it can be used by many people across your organization. And we know we can't do this alone. We really do want to leverage the collective knowledge of the community, incorporate the best practices you share with us, and the industry tradecraft we find working with communities of all sizes across this country and across the globe. So today we're going to talk about elections. And if you think about elections, they really have gone through some very challenging and evolving times. They're seeing increased pressures around economic sensitivities and rising sensitivity around transparency. We're seeing demographic shifts that are changing the expectations of voters. At the same time, many clerks are dealing with antiquated tabulation systems and other technology that might be slowing the voting process. And ultimately, while the clerk's office may be one of the smaller government organizations on a day-to-day basis, they quickly swell to a very large organization of volunteer workers on election day and throughout the election process. And while clerks and election divisions may be dealing with all of those challenges in their community, the recent COVID-19 pandemic is also going to present some interesting challenges that we've seen already in the election process, and being prepared to deal with that will be critical as we head into the general election here domestically this fall. So today we're going to talk about a collection of ArcGIS solutions that really help you promote a transparent election process. We're going to start with election outreach, which is really designed to help educate and inform the general public and voters within your community. We're then going to come inside the clerk's office and really illustrate a set of solutions that help election staff manage wait times and manage election day activities. And then ultimately help you share election results in a map-based application that help constituents on election night or maybe even historical results, visualize the results over time, and visualize results in your community. So while each of these solutions are designed to work individually, they're also designed to be a comprehensive system for your election office. And so you'll see that there's a collection of information products that are designed for poll workers who can report wait times and maybe make election requests from that polling location. We also have dashboards and other capabilities designed for the election staff that needs to monitor the performance of their election organization and triage requests that may be coming from those poll workers. And finally, a collection of information products or maps and apps that are designed for voters and the general public that may want to know who their elected representative is, where they vote, either on election day or maybe can drop off their absentee ballot before election day, and ultimately what the results of the individual elections are in their community or in their precinct. So before we dive into the demonstrations, what I'd like to do is just talk a little bit about the challenges we attempted to address with these solution offerings. First and foremost, as I mentioned, we really wanted to help increase transparency and make it easier for voters and the general public to discover who their elected representatives are and where they vote, either within a traditional polling place or at a voting center. The other thing that we wanted to do is really help clerks and election staff communicate wait times and help improve the voting process by letting people know when there may be peaks in those wait times and how they might adjust their schedule to vote when there aren't long waits and long lines at the polling places. The other thing we wanted to do is really help clerks of all sizes manage election day requests and from poll workers and respond to those requests in a timely manner. We've seen many articles in the news recently about elections that were fraught with shortage of ballots or other supplies that really hindered the time it took for voters to vote on election day. And then finally, we really wanted to improve the overall voter satisfaction process and modernize the way election results are shared with interested parties, and that could be the media or the general public that you're serving. So what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Mike and have Mike show you all of the election solution offerings. And we'll probably start with election outreach and then transition through election management and ultimately end with election results. So Mike, why don't you take it from here?
Thanks, Scott. As Scott mentioned, we're going to begin with the election outreach solution. Election outreach contains several applications that communicate important election information to your voting public. I'd like to begin with the Transparent Elections ArcGIS hub site. When you deploy the election outreach solution, you'll receive the Transparent Elections site, which serves as a destination for the election outreach applications and helps you communicate important election information in a straightforward and accessible way. Like all of our applications, the Transparent Elections site is configurable and extensible so that you can make it fit your community's unique identity and needs. In our current context, a great way to extend the site might be to communicate relevant COVID-19 election and voting information. Let's take a brief look at the Transparent Elections site, then a closer look at the applications that are accessed through it. We're promoting transparency by communicating key election metrics such as voter satisfaction and average wait, as well as the election department's priorities in conducting elections. The metrics that you see displayed here are generated by using the election solutions, so the source of that data will become a bit more clear throughout the demo. As a voter, I'm interested in finding my current elected representatives. We're using the ArcGIS Hub events calendar to communicate important election dates, such as when early voting begins. The site helps answer the often asked and very important question, where do I vote? Whether that be at a traditional polling place or an early voting center. The election outreach solution includes a poll worker volunteer application to help promote community volunteerism in elections. As Scott mentioned, the election results solution can be deployed to communicate both current and historic results, which we see here in a gallery on the Transparent Election site. We're answering those frequently asked questions at an accessible destination to help voters avoid needing to call into the election department. We're also measuring voter satisfaction so that election departments can understand the voter's experience and collect valuable data that might help them plan future elections. And finally, we're promoting transparency through open data, and members of the community can follow the ArcGIS Hub Transparent Elections initiative to receive regular updates. With the Transparent Elections site, you also receive the Configuring This Site page, which is a page that can be used internally and includes some helpful configuration instructions and tips. So I just introduced several applications just by way of reviewing the Transparent Elections site. So now let's take a closer look at those applications, beginning with the My Elected Representatives site. My Elected Rep can be used by the public to find their current elected representatives by either searching for an address or clicking on the map. I'm presented with a list of elected offices. I can click on one of those elected offices and view the representative's name, their contact information, and photo. Depending on the type of office, the party affiliation of the elected representative will display. And you'll also notice that the number of elected representatives can vary based on the type of elected office. The next application I want to show you is the Voting Centers app. Voting Centers is the app to use whenever a voter is making a decision about where to cast their ballots, which is an increasing trend in a few different ways. 13 states currently allow vote centers on election day. A vote center is the model that allows a voter to cast their ballot at any number of designated locations within their jurisdictions, for example, a county. 22 states allow ballots to be mailed in or dropped off at designated drop box locations. And 39 states and the District of Columbia allow some form of early voting. In each of these types of models, a voter is presented with a choice on where to cast their ballot. So to see the options available to me in my community, I can, again, either click on the map or search for an address. And I'm presented with a list of voting centers here on the right. I can view the details of the voting center and the next election date, its handicap accessibility and hours of operation, and when I need to register to participate in this election. This location is configured to be an early voting center, so it's open not just on election day, but over a period of time from July 1st to August 4th. And it also gives me some information on the location of the drop box at the facility. Although voting centers are an increasing trend, at least in the United States, the dominant model is still polling places. The election polling places application can be used by the public to find their appropriate polling place where they should cast their ballot on election day. So again, I can either click on the map or search by address. And I'm presented with the appropriate polling place based on the location provided. In this case, again, I can see that the next election day is on August 4th, location information, hours of operation, and other details. Both the voting centers and election polling places application display some additional details on election day or when in early voting, when an early voting center is open and active. So here the voting center application is displaying the current wait times as reported by election staff. So again, I will click on the map. And I can see that the message has changed. Now today is election day. I can see the approximate wait, and I'm also given an operational status that yes, this voting center is indeed open right now. In the early voting pattern, we see those same details, except that this voting center is open over a period of time, not just a single day. So it's the message in the banner is telling me that the location is open and will be open until July 15th. Again, the wait time is displayed, and we see a slightly more complex operational hours picture. Again, with the operational status that tells me, yes, right now, this location is open. In a similar way, the election polling places application also displays the current wait time both on the map and here in the information pane, and gives me the operational message. Both wait times and early voting drop box locations may become increasingly important as elections are conducted amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to social distancing, wait times may be increased. And so by communicating those wait times with the public, we can be transparent and allow them to plan their day and vote at the best time that suits them. And with voting centers, we can communicate those early voting options, all of the options available to a voter in a community. I mentioned that the election outreach solution contains a poll worker application form. This was communicated on the Transparent Elections site. So here we can gather information from a potential election worker, such as their contact information, qualifications, their comfort level with technology, as well as any additional languages that might be useful in their community. So we just took a look at the election outreach solution, which includes the Transparent Elections site, the My Elected Representative application, voting center and election polling places applications, and the poll worker volunteer form. So now we're going to take a step inside of the clerk's office and look at the election management solution. On election day, clerks in communities large and small operate something like an election command center, which includes a help desk or call center. Field workers also move throughout the community responding to issues and requests that election workers, poll workers generate throughout the day. And the election command center is operated at varying levels of sophistication across at least the United States, sometimes just with paper and pencil or a single phone line where an election worker can call and make a request or report a concern or an issue. And on the other side of elections, clerks are often tasked with reporting this sort of information on the operations of election day to governing boards or other officials. What were the concerns? What issues arose? And so what we've done with the election management solution is provide a set of capabilities to manage these workflows in an explicit way and gather valuable data to help you understand how the election day and election process was managed. So I want to begin the election management solution with the election assistant application. Election assistant is designed to be used by poll workers on election day. So here I have all of my locations across the jurisdiction in the map. I also have a list here on the right. And as a poll worker, what I can do is select the location where I have been assigned. And then I'm presented with two very simple tasks. I can either report a wait time, and wait times are often reported at a regular interval, say every hour or a few times throughout the day. So I could do that at whatever interval makes sense for my jurisdiction. I can also request assistance. And as a poll worker, I request assistance in a few different ways, or I might want to do this for a few different reasons. There may be issues with computer hardware or running low on supplies. I can set a priority level. And in this case, we'll say we're running low on stickers. I can attach a photo and submit. Return to election assistant and do those two basic functions as needed. When requests are generated, they are triaged and dispatched using the Election Manager application. Election Manager is a configuration of workforce for ArcGIS. So now I'm an election worker who is responsible for reviewing these requests, these issues as they come in, and assigning them to field staff that are dispatched to respond to the request. In our case, perhaps to deliver additional stickers. So I can see the requests as they come in here on the map, and the clustering shows me where there are a number of requests at one location. I can also see the full list of requests on the left here and whether or not they've been assigned to a field worker. So I'm going to sort our list by newest so that we can see the request that we just created. So we created a request, an election supplies request, and that we're running low on stickers. I'm going to assign this to a field worker. And here I am the field worker that has been assigned this request. I can see that one assignment has just been added, so I can view it. I could add additional notes if I needed to. I can begin and once completed, finish the assignment. And this creates a real-time two-way communication between the field staff that is responding to issues on election day and the central command center staff that is dispatching these requests on election day. So we can see here that the request has been completed. The election manager project, the workforce project, also includes a ballot collection assignment type. This can be created to manage the chain of custody at the end of election day when ballots are collected. So again, I can assign this to a particular field worker. They can begin their assignment, end their assignment, and we can have some explicit data that ballots were collected from a particular location, returned to the central location for tallying in an appropriate way. An additional application included with the election management solution is the voter satisfaction survey. So an important aspect of conducting elections is gathering feedback from the voting community. The voter satisfaction survey allows you to do just that. So after answering a simple introductory question, I'm presented as a voter with a series of questions on my voting experience. So I can supply where I voted, what time I voted, how long I waited in line. This is a slight difference from the wait time that we saw reported from the poll worker. This is my perception of my wait as a voter. I can give some feedback on the facility, the staff, the overall ease of voting, as well as my overall voting experience. I can answer some additional questions and then submit. So by using the election management solution on election day, we are reporting wait times at a regular interval and sharing those with the public. We're managing our request process and dispatching those to the field in an efficient manner. And we're gathering voter satisfaction data on their experience of voting. Each of these can be visualized using the election performance dashboard. As an elections director, I can use the dashboard to get an overall sense of how the election is operating on election day. Here I can see the number of requests that have been created, how many of those are critical, across important types of requests such as supplies or computer hardware issues, the average wait time as reported across the entire community, how many are in the worst class of wait, which is longer than 1 hour, how many satisfaction surveys have been completed by the voting public, and the overall satisfaction score. I can also use the selectors here on the side to refine the results and look at more precise categories such as request types. Using the additional tabs here on the bottom, I can dive into the details of these different workflows. So I could look at, for example, using the charts here on the side, those requests that are in progress and are deemed critical. I can also view the full details of the request by clicking on a request from the list or selecting it on the map. And when a request is completed, I'm presented with some additional information such as when it was assigned, when it was completed, and how long it took to complete. And again, I can use additional filters here on the side to refine the requests that I'm viewing. Using the wait times tab, I can use wait time trends across the entire community. I can see the average wait by hour as reported by again, at each location. I have a list sorted by the longest wait to the shortest wait, so I could prioritize maybe following up on a location that is consistently reporting a very long wait time. And finally, I can visualize those survey results. As voters are providing feedback and on things like the facility, the staff, and the voting ease, those are presented as numbers with targets. So in this case, we want to be above 3, which we are meeting for facility and staff, but just underneath for voting ease. Our overall experience here is represented in the chart. And we have a full list of all of the survey responses that have been gathered. And by selecting either from the list or on the map, I can view all of the questions. So the election management solution helps us run an efficient operation on election day. On the other side of election day, we want to share our election results. The election results solution is a configuration of ArcGIS dashboards that allows the voting public to visualize and examine election results in a few different ways. I can select an area of interest. In this case, I'm presented with precinct and municipality. So I'll select precinct and then select an individual precinct. The map zooms to that location and you see the numbers on the charts on the side adjust accordingly. I'm going to go back to viewing all of the precincts. I can select an elected office contest here, and both the map and the results chart below updates accordingly. I can also click on the map to see who received the most votes in a particular precinct for that elected office. Using the Proposals tab, I can view results for proposals. And again, I can click on the map to view how an up or down vote for a proposal went in a particular precinct. And finally, I can view voter turnout information, both overall across the entire jurisdiction, as well as by a particular contest. So we've taken a look at the election outreach solution that helps us communicate important election information to the voting public, the election management solution, which helps us operate an efficient election on election day, and the election results solution, which can be deployed to communicate election results to the voting public and can be deployed many times per election. So one question you might have is, how do I get my data inside of this solution? Included with the election solutions is the Election Data Management Pro project. And the Pro project contains a series of tasks that walk us through populating our authoritative data inside of the election solutions. And once we hydrate our content into the maps and layers that are provided with the solution, the solution just sort of works. So these series of tasks are very important and a great starting point when trying to stand up these solutions. So here in the Getting Started section, I can read some text that helps me understand the layers that have been deployed with the solution, how they work with the applications. The first thing I want to do is source the layers that are included in the Pro project with the layers that were deployed with my solution. In this case, I've done that for both voting locations and voting precincts and electoral districts. We'll do that right now. So I'm going to change the source to use from my organization in the election outreach solution, the electoral districts feature layer. And once I've done that introductory step, I can begin looking at these groups of tasks. I might want to load existing election data, for example. And the tasks will walk you through using maybe your source data, to append that data into the feature layers that were deployed with the solution. So we could map those. We could map the source fields onto the target fields, that feature layer that was deployed with the solution, and move our data inside of the feature layers that will support the functionality that we've seen in the applications. The tasks also highlight some of the most important fields that are utilized in the applications, such as operating hours, the type of voting location, whether it's a polling place or a voting center. You can also use the Election Data Management Pro project to create new data and even manage that data over time, so updating the data for the next election date once you complete an election cycle. Another question you might be asking is, how do I get these solutions? So as of the user conference, we have released the Solutions application. The Solution app can be used from your ArcGIS Online organization. Here we're showing you one of our organizations and using the app switcher to access the Solutions app. And once in the Solutions app, we can search for election or use the industries, categories, or scroll through all of the solutions to find the solution that we're interested in. Here in election outreach, I can see that I've already deployed it. In election management, I can view the details, and if I'd like to, I can deploy that directly into my organization. The Solution app is going to lay down in your organization all of the maps and apps and feature layers that you'll need to utilize, in this case, the election management solution. And then the Election Data Management Pro project can be used to populate your authoritative data into the feature layers that make the solution go. So we've taken, I've shown you a number of different things. We've looked at the election outreach solution, the election management solution, which we can see was just successfully deployed into my organization, and the election results solution, which all together creates a election system that the Transparent Elections ArcGIS hub site serves as the sort of front door to communicate to your voting public. So I'm going to turn things back over to Scott, or he'll wrap up with a few slides, and then we'll take some questions. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike. That was a great overview of the election solutions. So you may be asking yourself, Mike just showed me a whole series of election solutions, and each of those solutions has one or more information products, and how do I really get started in my organization? Well, one of the most important things to point out about the election solutions that Mike showed you is that they're all designed to work together as a comprehensive system, but you can deploy them around unique and specific needs in your organization. So you could decide as an organization you just want to deploy the election outreach solution and modernize the way you engage constituents in your community, and you want to do that for the 2020 general election. Well, you can do that and really focus in on those key needs and key capabilities that are included in that solution, and then incrementally add capabilities like election management or even election results. So the most important thing to understand is that you can take the solutions and align them around your business needs, deploy them, and then incrementally grow your implementation in a very agile approach. And just be comfortable knowing that you're not alone. There are many communities across the country who've developed and implemented the solution, helped us develop and have implemented the solutions that we showed you today. And there are countless examples of organizations, both big and small, that have leveraged the capabilities that are available in these offerings. And it's also important to note that we continue to evolve these solution offerings. And we've been thinking about a whole host of capabilities that we might be including in future releases of these solution offerings. That could range from some type of solution that helps you estimate the amount of time that it may take to vote so you can better tune the wait times that you're reporting to constituents. You could also envision a solution that helps you manage campaign sign compliance and illegal signs that may be up throughout your community, either before the legal requirements to put them up or after. And then the other thing we've heard from some communities is they may need help as they transition from a traditional polling place model to a voting center model. And where do they effectively place those voting centers to maximize coverage within their community? So we continue to listen to needs in the community and ultimately use that feedback we get from state and local governments to drive what's available in our solution offerings. Everything Mike showed you today is available on the solution site. And so if you go to solutions.arcgis.com, you'll be able to discover the solutions that are available. You can learn more about the software required to take advantage of these solutions in your organization. And ultimately, how do you deploy the solutions, configure them to meet specific needs in your organization, and ultimately use them in key workflows within your clerk or election office. But I also want to encourage you to think about joining the Meetup community, because it's really more than just the technology we're providing. The Meetup community is a great way for you to stay connected with the development team and drive what we're building in the election solutions. It's also a great way to connect with your peers and share best practices and get implementation advice and even talk about how you're leveraging the solutions collectively in your organization. And so joining that Meetup community is a really great way to stay connected with the team and understand what's coming in the solution offerings. In closing, we're very committed to delivering a set of election solutions that enable your success and help you maximize the investment you're making in ArcGIS. We want to make it easy for you to deploy and sustain these capabilities in your organization. We'll continue to evolve and grow the solutions that we showed you today based on the feedback we get from the community. And ultimately, it's that direct engagement with the user community that helps us do that. And what I hope you saw today is that the election solutions we showed you really are a great way to maximize the investment you're making in ArcGIS and leverage location-based data to improve the electoral process and to be more transparent during your election process. But we know there may be places where partners can add additional value, and you can integrate those partner solutions with the content provided in ArcGIS to maximize the benefits in your organization. So thank you very much for joining Mike and I today. You'll see here some links to the solution site and the meetups we mentioned earlier, and we certainly look forward to your feedback on the election solution offerings. So thank you very much for your time today and have a good day.